NQT year is a year. NQT. Welcome back, it's your boy Mr. CV. I'm back with another one, and this time I'm going to be talking about my NQT year. NQT stands for Newly Qualified Teacher, and this is a probation year you have to pass after finish your teacher training. During your third year of the placement, they give you like a week for interviews, where you can go to different interviews to different schools, and obviously if you're successful you can go and work in a school starting from September. So for me, I did my teacher training up in Leeds Beckett University, and I thought to myself, I'm a London boy, and for me I won't make the most difference if I was teaching in Leeds, because I'm not from Leeds, I'm from London, and coming from a deprived area in London, I always felt to myself, my area is a place where I can make the most difference. I had 2 interviews. One of them was at my old primary school, and the other one was at a school close to my primary school. So obviously I booked a week off, I've come back to London, and I went to the interview on a Wednesday, and within like a day or 2 they told me I was successful. But then on a Friday I had an interview with my old primary school, and unfortunately they moved the date to the following week, and obviously I just thought to myself, travelling back and forth to Leeds is just going to be too much. So I said, you know what, I'm going to take the school that was in my borough, the first school that I had an interview on a Wednesday. Now when I took the school, obviously I'm excited because I'm thinking, wow, this is my first teaching job. Obviously I'm excited, and I'll be honest with you, wow, a lot of things happen. Doing this NQT year, it's very different for different people, and a lot of the differences is about obviously the support you've been given, how the school's like. Most NQTs have different experiences. My experiences, I wouldn't say it's the best for me, but it was a learning curve. Within the first couple of weeks, I started noticing that, wow, certain things are not as they should be. When you finish your teacher training year, you've got so many ideas in your head. A lot of ideas you've learned from the course. When you're in the class, you want to implement it, but as soon as you go to the schools, some schools are like, listen, although you've learned in your teacher training year, yes, it's good you've learned them, but this is our way of doing things. And at that time, it was a bit of a struggle, because you've just left the course, you've got so many fresh ideas you want to implement, you've got so many things you want to do, and then once you enter the school, they don't tell you, but you get the feeling that you can't actually implement some of those ideas you've got. You have to do it their way. There was something critical that actually happened within the first, I think, 2 weeks. Every Friday we have something called Star of the Week, and this Star of the Week is to celebrate the children's achievement. So what we do, we choose one girl and one boy, and then we write their name and give it to someone who reads it during the assembly. So obviously I've written one of the child's name, and I must have made a mistake. So they've called every class when they now got to my class. So they were saying the person's name, but obviously I was like, that's not the right name, that's not the right name. Next thing said was, oh, you should have done it properly. And that was done in front of like every single person. It was a total embarrassment for myself. And since that day that happened, wow, I just thought to myself, wow. Either way, I just overlooked it, because I just said, you know what, fair enough. Next time I just won't make that kind of mistake. When you're in that NQT year, is a year which you have to pass, and that NQT year is made up of 3 terms. Autumn term, spring term, and the summer term, and you have to pass all 3 terms to now be fully qualified as a teacher. And after that event happened in the first 2 weeks, whoa, it really hit me. But I just said, you know what, I'm here to pass the 3 terms, so anything that comes with it, I'm just going to accept it as it is. During my NQT year, a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened. Obviously, not everything I'm going to go into, but I'm going to just say 1 or 2 of them. As a teacher, planning takes a long time. Especially if you're a newly qualified teacher, it takes you longer than teachers that have been teaching for a very long time. So you have to sacrifice a lot of your weekends. Every day we get together and we talk about what we've planned. If I'm planning the maths, I'll tell them, okay, this is what we're doing in maths, and this is how we're going to do it, this is how we should do it, these are the worksheets. And my colleagues, they will say, oh yeah, it's fine. But by the time I'm about to teach the maths, they've spoken to themselves and they change it. They've changed it completely. They've changed them And obviously it came to the point where instead of me giving my best every weekend, trying to plan my fullest content, trying to give my best in terms of my planning, it getting to the point where I was just doing the basic, because I knew every time I presented to my other colleagues, they would end up changing it. And obviously at that time, it was hard to say, okay, this is not right, because they would just turn around and say, we're trying to support him because it's an NQT. But there was one critical part for me that after that happened, I just said, you know what, a week before this happened, I was sent on to a behavioural course. And when I was sent on to this behaviour management course, on the course we were told that obviously as a teacher, if you come up with a rule in a class, you have to follow that rule. You can't come up with that rule and then you change it. The children at that time, we were doing design technology, and it was based on making a sandwich. So what the children did was they had to draw their sandwich to show what they were making in terms of their sandwich. Once they've done that, then the following week they had to create the sandwich. I told the children, I said, listen, any child that obviously misbehaved, does not follow my instruction, they won't be getting to make the sandwich. And remember, on the behaviour course, they said if you make a rule, you have to stick to by that rule. It came to the day we were making a sandwich, and I saw a few children weren't following my instructions, they weren't listening. So I said, okay, you know what, you're not going to make a sandwich. The children made a sandwich, others didn't, because like I said, they didn't follow my instruction. We had an assembly. The door to my classroom has a see-through glass at the top of it. So we were in the assembly. All of a sudden, my mentor calls me into my class in front of the whole of assembly. And everyone's looking like, what's going on? What's wrong this time, guys? And I get called in. Then my mentor was like, oh, why didn't these children make a sandwich? And I said, they didn't make the sandwich because, number one, I've just been sent to a behavioural management course, and they said if you make a rule, you have to stick by that rule. You can't now decide that you want to change that rule now. So for that reason, I told the children that if you're not behaving yourself, obviously you won't be taking part in the fun stuff, which is making a sandwich. Next minute, it was,